What's up, guys? We're here at 1 p.m. New Haven, Connecticut, at Powerhouse Gym. And today being a back day, it was a pretty typical back day for me, beginning with barbell rows. And because I'm starting with them, trying to go as heavy as possible. And prior to the barbell rows, warming up with a few sets of lying hamstring curls. It's something I've been doing for the past couple weeks and actually has been turning out really, really well. A lot of times, you know, you go do a heavy compound movement for back first, like deadlifts or barbell rows, and sometimes, you know, your lower back isn't quite warmed up. And although I'm not doing the hamstring curls to warm up my lower back per se, but more to kind of switch on my hamstrings, because when you're doing a barbell row, there's a lot of tension, or at least there should be, in your hamstrings to kind of hold that weight. More tension should be in your hamstrings than in your lower back, because you should, you know, whether you're doing deadlifts or barbell rows, you should take advantage and load your legs. And when I say load your legs, maintain tension there rather than in your lower back. So by doing some hamstring curls first, it kind of turns those muscles on. You know, keep in mind, weight training, a lot of it is neurological. So if certain nerves are firing and things are switched on, you're gonna be a lot stronger, things are gonna be a lot more secure. I kind of got the idea to do this because a lot of times on leg day, or sometimes a separate hamstring day, I would superset deadlifts with hamstring curls, doing the hamstring curls first. And what I noticed was my lower back didn't bother me, but despite being pre-fatigued. And I think a lot of that was just from switching on that muscle and kind of allowing it to engage more fully rather than your lower back. I still think that barbell rows are one of the best. I know it's a back movement, but just a great body movement. You know, you do engage your glutes and your hamstrings, your lower back, your back, obviously, in the movement. You know, compared to some of the machines that are rows, but with the chest supported, right? So you would kind of lay on it on a 45-degree angle, and not only is your chest supported, but the weight is not free, it's pivoting, right? It's almost like a supported T-bar row. Personally, I always felt you could take that machine and throw it in the fucking garbage. T-bar row, okay, sometimes, yeah, it's good, but you know, I mean, you're pivoting. Okay, it's not a free weight. One of the main reasons you're doing that row is because it's a compound movement and you're gonna use a lot of muscles. Literally, a lot of muscles. Once you start stabilizing it and isolating it, you know, I'm not saying it's no good, because I mean, I still do cable rows and things like that, but it's never the bread and butter. Dumbbell rows, deadlifts, they're still the bread and butter. They're still the foundation. They're still the meat and potatoes, and they're what I would resort to if I could only pick a couple movements to train my back with. Movements like that too, yeah, they're good mass builders, but someone else once pointed out to me, they're especially good pre-contest. Your barbell rows and deadlifts and squats, all those big movements that use a lot of muscles to complete. Because the way that I'm feeling right now, right, after I do a few sets of that and I'm tired, you feel it in your whole body, right? Your fucking body's tired. It's because they burn a lot of calories. Right? So pre-contest, you want to get in shape. You don't park yourself on a machine, do a bunch of isolation movements, all that bullshit. Do heavy compound movements. And that's what brings out condition, right? It's hard. It burns a lot. It's one of your greatest tools that you have when trying to get in shape. So after heavy barbell rows, I moved on to close grip pull downs, which I supersetted with T-bar rows. Now T-bars I don't like them as much as a barbell row. I would never replace, barbell rows with T-bars as my primary rowing movement, but they're a good movement, and especially as part of a superset, I'm able to really focus the stress. I'm fatiguing my lats with the pull downs, and then I'm able to carry that into the T-bar rows and really pinpoint the muscle. But of course, still, it's still something of a compound movement, and using my whole back to complete it. A lot of times I'll alternate. I won't deadlift every back workout, at least in an off season. A lot of times when it's pre-contest, I will. Off season, I like to let things rest a little bit. But this week I happen to not deadlift because I deadlifted very heavy last week. So following the pull down and T-bar row superset, I moved over to dumbbell rows. And I performed it in a way that, for me, it placed a lot of tension on my back. You always have a choice when you complete a movement. You can make it as easy as possible, or you can make it as difficult as possible. And when I say as difficult as possible, I don't mean like doing bent over dumbbell rows on like a medicine ball, balancing on one foot. And I mean, focusing on what you're doing and feeling the negatives and feeling the contraction and not just heaving weight. So although I was only using, say, 100 pounds on the dumbbell rows, for me it was heavy for the way that I was doing it. So doing it as a drop set, by the time I completed 10 to 12 reps on one side and duplicated it with the other side and went back to the original side, I was only able to get, 5, 6, 7 reps. So a couple rounds of that, and that was it. There's weeks where I might do, say, 6 exercises for back. Last week almost felt like a marathon of a back workout. And, probably took every bit of an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes. It was a lot of heavy weight. And although it felt great at the time, training legs 2 days later, you pay the price a little bit, because your lower back is tired, your glutes are tired, your hips are tired. So it becomes a little bit of a game of recuperation, right? And you have to, place the emphasis where you need it most. If you know that your leg training is most important, if your legs need to come up, then be conscious of that. If you can train back like a demon and do whatever you need to do and not have it impact your leg training, great, go to town. I found that as when I was younger and lighter, recuperation wasn't much of a thing. But I think that the bigger you get, the more advanced you become, it takes a lot more to recuperate from not only the intensity, but you're a bigger guy with more tissue, and that takes more to recuperate as well. So be conscious of all of that. So for me, like I said, this week was only did 4 movements. Last week was 6. It was a longer workout. So it's a balance. It's a constant game of balancing what you're doing and being mindful of what you're going to be doing tomorrow or the day after and how you need to balance that, balance your training with that.